Hello friends, welcome to the GKU Sports India YouTube channel where K. Srinath, our good old friend and expert of this channel, and I will preview the third test match beginning at the home of cricket, the Lord's Cricket Ground, on the birthday of Sunil Gavaskar, July 10, that is Thursday. Without taking much of your time, welcoming K. Srinath to this new episode of the Kumbi-Gikku Show. Sri, Lord's Test match, India on a high with confidence after winning in Edgbaston, 1-all. The series could not have been better placed going to the home of cricket.
Absolutely. After the first test game, most of them didn't give India a chance in the second test match. The sort of cricket they played and the comeback they made to level the series, I think it's now left the series wide open. And for a very all-important third test match in a five-test match series, which other venue would you choose to play cricket in? They call it the Mecca of Cricket, Lords. I think certainly looking forward to an exciting test match at Lords, with a few changes expected on both sides. And as I said, a decider in all ways, because obviously there's going to be a result unless and until there's going to be weather playing spoil sport. Absolutely looking forward to the start of the third test match at Lords.
Usually they say the third day of a test match is the moving day of a test match. So can we say that the third test of a series is the moving test of the series, and in which direction this series is heading to?
Yeah, I think it's even Stevens as of now. And if at all I would point a finger, I would say, the wind is sailing more towards India as of now, because they dominated the majority of the period in the first test match and just lost the game on the last day. Despite that, the sort of comeback they made and winning on a canter in Birmingham was a beauty. So I think the odds are in favor of India now. I think India will head into this test match with much more confidence than England.
The news is out that England have made one change to their playing 11 for the Lord's Test. Jofra Archer coming back to Test cricket after more than 4 years in place of Josh Tongue. How do you see that change? That was an expected change, but did you expect more than just one change in the England side for this third test?
I mean, this was a no-brainer because they drafted in Jofra Archer in the last test match. Maybe having looked at the surface, they didn't want to let him loose. Mind you, Jofra Archer has not played a test match in the last 4 years. As I always mention, game time, spending time on the field, especially in the longer version, red ball cricket, is very, very important. So Jofra Archer will be under tremendous pressure. We only have to wait and see as to how his body will react, because he's just had 18 overs under his belt, maybe a week and a half back when he turned out for his county side. That was very much expected, but I was surprised when they decided to leave out Josh Tongue. I mean, he was so far the most successful bowler for England, though his economy rate would not suggest great numbers, but he had 11 wickets in the two test matches he played. Yeah, I mean, yes, that's a forced change, I would say, because of Archer coming in. But pretty surprised, still continuing with the likes of Wokes, who's looked pedestrian, if I would say. And also the tactics of England and the team management winning the toss and deciding to bowl first always. So when are you going to bring in your off spinner into play? If he's going to bowl in the fourth innings on a pitch that has got slight wear and tear, he could be of some use. I think that's something really that England have to figure out. And also the form of Zach Crawley. 56 test matches, averaging 31. I think I have not seen any cricketer across the world being given such a long rope. And coming into Lords, from what we hear from the reports, saying the track is green and it's going to be much more juicier and more helpful to the faster bowlers. I think the England batting is going to be put to a real test in this test match.
Akash Deep and his 10 wickets, 10 match-winning figures in Edgbaston how effective will he be? Because Lords rarely have spinners done very well. The best bowling figures among the top at Lords Cricket Ground is all with the medium pacers. We cannot forget Bob Massey and his 16 wickets on debut, the Australian fast bowler way back in the 70s. Ishan Sharma of India, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, they have all had 5 wickets. Of course, our good old Venkatesh Prasad also has a 5-wicket haul at Lords. So the medium pacers will come into picture and hardly anything for the spinners at Lords, isn't it? It has traditionally been that way, hasn't it been?
Yeah, traditionally, even the greatest of spinners, as you mentioned, Jiku, it could be Shane Warne, Muthiah Muralidharan, Anil Kumble, just to mention a few. Nothing against the other great spinners who played there. They have just not gone on to get onto the honor boards. Forget picking 5. Hardly they've had a 4-4 or a 3-4 also. Yes, traditionally, the conditions in Lords, and it's got a unique slope, which provides that extra bit for the faster bowlers. At the same time, if you're playing at Lords for the first time, it is going to be a first time for somebody like Akashdeep. And it would be very interesting to see when he bowls from the end and if the slope is on the left side. So it's not going to be easy for the faster bowlers to adjust straight away to the slope there, because we've seen top bowlers come there and struggle to get their line and direction right when they have played at Lords. Yes, Akashdeep, with the match-winning performance of 10 wickets in Edgbaston on a non-responsive track, I think his fingers would be, he would be licking his fingers and eager to get a hand on the ball. And, winning the toss, if India gets to bowl first, and this Indian medium pace attack or fast bowling attack will be more than a handful. And trust me, the way the Indian fast bowlers have looked, barring Prasidh Krishna in the last 2 test matches, they've all been extremely good compared to what the England seamers have been. Yes, Akashdeep's tail is up, and he would really love to have a go at the Englishman at Lords.
Even Mohammad Siraj, he bowled beautifully in the first innings, 6 wickets for 70 odd runs in that first innings at Edgbaston. Mohammad Siraj has also played a match-winning bowling performance in the last test that India played at Lords, 4 wickets in each innings. So his tail will also be equally up with Akashdeep's, and Jasprit Bumrah is also going to be back with in the Indian 11. So the trio of Bumrah, Siraj, and Akashdeep, they should be a handful for England to tackle, isn't it?
And they would be really fearsome. I mean, with Bumrah coming back and both Akashdeep and Siraj finding his rhythm in the last game, they would be more than a handful. I mean, to this current English batting lineup, they would look like the olden fearsome 4 of West Indies. I mean, I'm not mincing words, because technically, as I mentioned in my last show, England does not adapt to, adjust to the swinging ball. Excepting Joe Root, to an extent, Harry Brook and Jamie Smith, the rest of the batters all have flaws in their technique. And if England, as I said, is inserted or they're going to bat first, they're going to be in big trouble, because Bumrah and Siraj have had the experience of playing in Lords earlier, and certainly with Bumrah around, he would be a big guiding force for Akash, and he would certainly be giving him inputs as to how he needs to operate on this Lord surface. Yes, it's going to be an extremely interesting contest to watch our 3 fast bowlers being unleashed against this England batting lineup.
Sri, you have visited Lords. How steep is the slope? Because I remember once Venkatesh Prasad telling me that if you are at one end of the ground near the boundary line, you hardly see the fielder on the other end of the boundary line, the opposite end. Is it that steep?
Yeah, as a youngster, when I toured England in '89, I remember we were all taken to a tour to Lords. Middlesex is the county which is the home ground for them. So we went on a tour, and I think Middlesex was playing a game then. So when we managed to just walk across and got onto the other side of the slope, to be honest, a short-statured guide, maybe like a Ben Duckett or somebody like Rishabh Pant, of course, he's a keeper. If he gets onto the other side of the slope, obviously we'll not get to see them. Such is the slope. And having watched so much of cricket over the years, you would have seen once the ball just gets, just off the square there, there's no stopping it. You should be ready with electric scooters to just go and retrieve the ball from there. Such is the, a gradient of the slope there, which for people who just walk in for the first time there could just be, menacing. It's just not easy to handle that.
Spoke about the greatest slow bowlers, Shane Warne, Muralidharan, Anil Kumble not having a 5-4. Even if you look at the batsmen, some of the greatest India have produced, Sunil Gavaskar, Sachin Tendulkar, even for that matter, Virat Kohli, they do not have a century at Lords. But of all the people, Ajit Agarkar has a century at Lords Cricket Ground. How important, how crucial, how it is to have a name in the batting honours board of the Lords Cricket Ground.
First up, to be representing your country, turning out on the park in the playing 11 at Lords itself is a euphoria. It really gives you goosebumps. And added to that, you perform well, your team is on the winning side. That's a double whammy. And the icing on the cake would be if you can get your name on the honors board, be it as a bowler or as a batter. Yes, there have been a lot of greats who've donned colors for their respective countries, and they've just not managed to get their names on the honor boards. But what makes Lord so special is so important. In fact, I was listening to one of the former England greats mention it's a double-edged sword for England when they come out and play in Lords. He said that it's got so much of history, it's got so much of aura around that whole ground. Any team that turns out to play against England are that much more pumped up and they want to do well. That's why he says many a times England falter there because opposition who turn out there come out and ensure they put up a good performance on the park. I think that's the magnitude, that's the sort of aura this ground possesses. And mind you, a few of the Indian boys would be walking out for the first time in Lords. And certainly with this sort of momentum they have carried forward, England is going to have a tough time on the park in this third test match.
And among the the members of MCC, the Marylebone Cricket Club, those members, they arrive at the ground very early in the morning, and we see even before the gates are open, people just sit with their newspapers on just for the gates to open, and that's a good 2 hours before the start of play. So that is how people line up in queue. And what memories do you get of Lord's Cricket Ground when you first hear the name Lord's Cricket Ground? To me, Kapil Dev's 4 consecutive sixes to save India the embarrassment of a follow-on in 1990. Dilip Vengsarkar's 3 consecutive hundreds, 1979, 82 and 86. These are the things that come to mind. Of course, Dickie Bird, I'm sure you would have fond memories of seeing him, and I don't know if you have interacted with Dickie Bird. He retired from Test in 1996, the debut of Saurav Ganguly and Rahul Dravid. And it was emotional when even Mohammad Azharuddin gave him a hug before walking out to take the field. So these are the things that immediately come to my mind when Lord's Cricket Ground is mentioned. Of course, Gavaskar's only 100, the Lords came that century match, rest of the world versus England, or MCC, 1988, I think a year after he retired from Test. So these are my first, whatever comes to mind of Lord's Cricket Ground. What are yours, Sri? You have also been there, gone on tour. Lord's Cricket Ground.
Absolutely. I think these are all the things that come to my mind immediately also. And also the debut games for 2 of not only India's finest cricketers and former captains, but icons of cricket per se, the world goes. Rahul Dravid and Saurav Ganguly. So many memories, just can't put a finger on one thing. And also all the 3 victories which India have had at Lords. Those certainly I would cherish that. One that if you say that is on top of the world is 1983 World Cup Finals.
Oh, yes.
When Jimmy Amanath had Michael holding LBW and Dickie Bird put up his finger and Jimmy Amanath had the stump in his hand and the Indian team went for a spin and the crowd invading the ground. I mean, that is something that, it's still right in front of my eyes because history was rewritten and white ball cricket. Those days, people, when they played in colored clothing and white ball cricket, when Kerry Packer introduced that, it was called as pajama cricket. But mind you, we played that Prudential Cup in white and red ball. I think that's there in my memory because I was a youngster, maybe 83 was about 14, 15-year-old playing cricket for my school and turning out for my club. I think that gave such an impetus to cricket, and India came on the world cricketing map as a nation to contend. I think that is something that is there on top of my mind. And when you talk about Lords, it's the 83 victory when India won against West Indies.
Certainly, no doubt, any Indian cricket follower would remember that. I was just mentioning the long format matches that come to mind when I talk about Lords. Of course, 1983 stands on top of it.
True.
Who can forget Kapil Dev running to catch that skyer of Viv Richards, or even Krishnamacharya Srikanth, match high score of 38, square driving
Exactly.
Andy Roberts, just like, it was so beautiful to watch. So many things, that 1983 World Cup final, unbelievable. Sri,
Actually, there is a lot of tradition attached to this ground, Jiku. When you see the team walk out to field, the members stand up and clap for them. The same with the batters, either when they get in or get out. I think that's a mark of respect they show towards the game per se. I think that's why the tradition that is attached to this ground uh, pumps up cricketers who come out to play there. They want to perform because that's the sort of adulation they get there. More than the adulation, there's the respect they get there. Like we say, there are a lot of crowds in India when you go to watch, places like Chennai, Mumbai, or even Bangalore, Kolkata, where, cricket, the people who come to watch cricket are knowledgeable. They appreciate good cricket that is played. But the top of it is lots. So when people come out there, they're very knowledgeable. As you said, they line up and they walk into the ground 2 hours before the start of play. I mean, the discipline that they maintain there, what is required for you to be a part of that, conundrum, that's something massive. That's why it's Lords, and people always have that feeling saying it's been debated a lot of times, saying that there are bigger stadia in the world, like MCG can host a lakh of people. Now we have our own Narendra Modi Stadium, which can fill in about a lakh and 30,000 people, whereas the capacity of Lords is much, much lesser than what these numbers are. But what Lords brings to the table is something totally different, and these grounds cannot match that per se in terms of the history it's got with it.
and the players walking out of the balcony, going through the long room, entering the playing ground. It must be, if somebody has God forbid, got out for a first ball duck, imagine how he would be walking through the members. Or if on the other side, if somebody got a 5-wicket haul or 100 and walking through, must be entirely different feelings. Have you had that on the tour of MCC? Have you visited these places, walked through the long room, been to the
Absolutely. Absolutely. We had a tour, we went to the museum, we had a look at everything that was available there. I mean, it's a surreal feeling, actually, to be honest. But when we walked through that place, there was nobody accepting us because there was a county game that was being played there. But we could just, visualize and feel how it could be when you're seeing gentlemen dressed up in suits with ties, and the ladies dressed up, decked up well, a pat on the back. And I mean, that's how it is. The feeling is surreal, and obviously, yes, when you walk out there, your adrenaline is pumping, and you just want to go that extra mile to do well there because you're on hallowed turf.
And when you do really well, you also sometimes break the tradition, like Saurav Ganguly did, waving the India jersey after winning the 2002 NatWest Trophy final. That was something, among those unforgettable moments from the Lord's cricket ground, the Lord's balcony. Coming back to this series, Sri, India, one force change, or probably Jasprit Bumrah back. Do you see any other change, or you just give the batsman one more go, including the likes of, say, Karun Nair?
Hearing the way Shubman Gill has addressed the media and gone about his business, he's used this word trust elaborately. So I think it's very important for a young captain and a side that is undergoing transition to build that trust, and as a captain, to have faith in his players. Yes, 4 innings, Karun Nair has been under the radar, not lived up to what he's done back in domestic cricket. In all fairness, the first question would be, why would at all you think of tinkering or changing a winning combination? That's number one. Yes, the force change you mentioned. Instead of Prasidh, I would look at Bumrah coming in. Going by history and what potentially the surfaces that have been doled out at Lords, there's not been instances of two spinners playing. But here we have two spinners playing, but both of them are excellent batters also. Jadeja and Washington Sundar. Yes, I would be tempted, to make a couple of changes, but not after winning the second test match with this setup. Give Karun Nair one more run at number 3. Now it's do or die for him. 1-2 innings, whatever at Lords. If India bats big and he doesn't get a chance in the second innings, he makes runs. Yes, he is in the thick of things. He'll be in for a run. If it doesn't go the way it has to, well, beyond this, how it could pan out for him is a question mark. I see only one change, Prasidh being left out and Bumrah coming for him. Otherwise, I don't look at any change being made with this Indian team for the third test.
And you just mentioned about Shubman Gill and his using the word trust. He trusted in his own abilities, scored 300s in 4 innings already in the series. India scored about 1,000 plus runs in Edgbaston, lot of runs. And moving away from this England-India series, somewhere down in Zimbabwe, the second test match, South Africa versus Zimbabwe, their stand-in captain Vian Mulder had a chance to score the highest ever individual score, go past Brian Lara's record of 400, not out. But he chose to call it ends to the innings at 367. What did you make of this declaration when he could have gone on and there was enough time left in the test match? South Africa also won the test match, 2-0 the series. But how do you look at this sporting gesture? Him saying that the record should belong to Brian Lara, a legend of the game, and he himself was not sure of where his test career was heading. So he just put an end to his innings at 367. This reminds me something of Mark Taylor and 334 when he could have gone beyond, Don Bradman's then record.
Don Bradman.
So these things are just something that just stand out, and it's not just about about personal milestones, isn't it?
Yeah, in a way, not about personal milestones, but in any sport, records are meant to be broken. Do you think somebody like Usain Bolt wouldn't have tried to finish that much earlier than Carl Lewis or Ben Johnson saying that they were legends of the sport? No. I mean, it's an individual decision. I respect what Mulder did. But overall, it cannot be, treated as something great that he's done. Now, you spoke about Mark Taylor. There was another left-hander opening batter of Australia who followed Mark Taylor later on, who went on to get 380 against the same Zimbabwe side. Matthew Hayden.
Yes.
Maybe if he had an opportunity, he would have gone past Brian Lara's 400. That's what he said. So it's an individual decision that he took. Yes, for that we applaud him. If he feels that, Lara was his sort of go-to man, he looked upon him as a youngster, molded his game on his technique or ways, whatever. And he wanted to just say that, I wanted to live it with him. And I wanted to go on at 367. Now, at 365, you had a legend. Sir Garfield Sobers, you went past him. I mean, history. Maybe Mulder is not aware of who he is. You could have gone past 380 of Matthew Hayden. In fact, in one of the chats, I heard Alistair Cook say that, I would have gone up to 385 and given it to Lara. I would have gone past Matthew Hayden. So these are individual decisions that they have taken. And I personally believe it's got nothing to do with sporting gestures. Because as I mentioned earlier, records are there to be broken. You mean to say India hadn't won a test match on 8 outings in Edgbaston? Would they always respect that record and say we just go out to play there and keep losing? No. History is there to be rewritten. Records are there to be broken. So nicety and sportsmanship, they don't go hand in glove. So that's my take on Mulder's decision. But I respect his individual decision, and it's a varied view of how people look at it. But respect to what he's done. That's it. That's what I can comment on that.
Fair enough. Sri, before we wind up, what do we expect from Lord's Cricket Ground over the next 5 days?
To me, honestly, I would look at this as 55-45 in favor of India. just for one reason, the brand of cricket they played in the second test match, the resilience they showed, the comeback they made. Mind you, 1, 2, 3 areas of catching, batting, lower order, and bowling in particular periods. They just made course corrections to that and came back. All those boxes ticked in the second test match. And also the addition of Bumrah, that's a massive boost to the Indian side. Yes, unless and until something goes totally wrong, because England has to have a plan B to come into this game. They just cannot rely on plan A and say, this is the way of a cricket we play, baseball. And as I said, if they're going to bat first and if they try to play the brand of cricket they've been playing, you could end up seeing England, come out with a lowest score in Test cricket also. You never know, because they're up against fast bowling attack, which is one of the best in the world today. Conditions prevailing and the sort of form they are in, they're going to be more than a handful. Very eagerly waiting, gluing myself to the television sets to watch a cracking contest at the Mecca of Cricket.
Same here with me, Sri. So on that note, thank you very much for this wonderful preview of the Lord's Test match, and see you at the other end of the test after the conclusion of the Lord's Test. Thank you, viewers. Take care, stay safe, and Sri, thank you once again. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Zico.